think about how quickly he moved forward from me to Marjorie.
So let me say this. You get to choose what you want for your life.
The things that should typically describe who you are, those things aren't manifesting themselves when the cameras are not rolling.
Steve Harvey is yet again making headlines, but it looks like he isn't the only one. The host may have dragged his ex-wife Majorie into the mud by accusing her of being a substance addict. What's this all about? Keep watching to find out. The public is convinced that Steve Harvey has a thing for women with odd pasts, as recent details have revealed that Steve's ex-wife, Majorie, had a thing for substance addicts in the past. While this may not look good for Majorie, it certainly isn't going great for Steve either. Meanwhile, one of the men Majorie has a relationship with is set to dig out her past, leaving no loose ends. Majorie and Jim Townsend used to be neck-deep in love with each other, but they both had something else going on, and it all boils down to substance possession. Moreover, Marjorie was reportedly under FBI and D investigation during her marriage to Jim, who investigators have labeled a dope kingpin. It was also reported that the two agencies suspected Marjorie played a role in the whole shenanigans. Though Marjorie was never charged with a crime, Jim, however, was eventually discovered after an undercover sting operation took place and was given life imprisonment in 1992 for conspiracy to possess with the intent to distribute coke. But there was light at the end of the tunnel for Jim when Department of Justice records indicate that former President Barack Obama pardoned Jim in January 2017. As for Steve and Marjorie, they may be more concerned about other pressing issues in their broken union, but it's hard to tell whether or not the two are giving ears to the recent allegations. If anything, they appear irritated at recent rumors alleging Steve was selling his Texas properties while gearing up for a divorce battle. The two addressed these claims in a hilarious Instagram video, but fans are not convinced. In fact, they believe Steve Harvey may be in $140 million net worth of trouble because after Majorie escaped the law from her sus union with Jim, she linked with another supposed dealer, Donald Woods, the father of her youngest daughter, Lori. So, even if she may have been vindicated from the scandal with Jim, Donald is still around the corner, and that means trouble may be looming. Also, Harvey's married in 2007, and although they share no children together, the talk show host has 4 and Marjorie has 3. The couple has blended their families beautifully and have since welcomed 4 grandchildren. Well, Steve is no stranger to expressing his feelings about how Marjorie saved his life and made him believe in love again. Throughout the last 10 years of their marriage, we've seen the pair push past baby mama drama and a few career blunders. So maybe these latest accusations will have no effect. Besides, Marjorie also seems to be enjoying her union with Steve because, according to her, Steve is a great father figure to her children, compared to her 2 previous partners. Meanwhile, after a 3-month investigation in Donald and Jim's business, RadarOnline.com obtained explosive FBI files revealing the dope kingpins were both married to Steve's bad girl wife, Marjorie, and she was deeply involved in their slimy underworld. That is a detail that probably won't be ever leave the internet. According to documents, Marjorie's former husbands ran smuggling rings that moved hundreds of kilos of narcotics between Houston and Memphis, and it's hard not to conclude that Marjorie was part of the shady business. In a bombshell exclusive interview, Jim tells RadarOnline.com he was pressured by the feds to cooperate with their investigation. He says the lawman claimed to have substantial evidence against Marjorie and said she'd be arrested if he didn't play ball. Looks like Romeo took the fall for his Juliet. At the time, Marjorie was 8 months pregnant with their second child, son Jason, the dealer says. He also feared their 5-year-old daughter, Morgan, would be left without a mother if he didn't cop a plea. There was Marjorie and my brother, Terry, and that was part of the plea bargain, Townsend says. We cut a deal that they wouldn't indict them. Yes, they were involved, he claims, but I was the ringleader. Oh, that's some revelation. Additionally, Townsend claims his daughter arranged the pardon through connections to a big-shot Washington lawyer, and netizens have wondered why Marjorie wasn't the one that got him out. Could it be to protect herself, or perhaps conceal the truth? Interestingly, Marjorie got involved with Donald, whom many believe to be a more dangerous dealer. And around that time, the FBI had started to investigate Donald and his kin in another drug smuggling operation. Donald and 9 others were busted for peddling more than 300 pounds of cocaine and about 250 pounds of marijuana. He pleaded guilty to a lesser charge and was sentenced to 37 months in federal prison. As expected, Marjorie divorced Donald in 2001 and plunged into a brief romance with Steve's bodyguard Big Boo, a former pimp who admitted to preying on women. The temptress then began seeing Steve. They wed in 2007 and he became stepfather to her 3 kids. Meanwhile, Marjorie stayed in touch with jailbird Jim. Harold will never learn. When Steve found out, he forced her to end all contact with the felon. He made her cut me off, says Jim. All those 17 years, I could call night or day and she was always there for me. But when she met him, that phone was cut off the next day. A source says Marjorie's bad boy links explain why Steve, who is estranged from his wife, is now so worried about security. Steve may have a shady past, but it's nothing like the major league guys Marjorie was married to, the source says. No wonder he keeps armed guards at his house in Atlanta. He wants to keep these guys at arm's length. Let's see if netizens agree. A social media user wrote, Marjorie Harvey spent her life married to drug lords and found herself a goofy with money, Steve Harvey, when they got locked up lol. What a strategic queen. Another added, Marjorie Harvey's past marriages to drug kingpins who are both serving life in prison has taken me to Lipstick Alley so. While another user commented, so Marjorie Harvey's ex-husband is a drug kingpin, and he's getting out of jail and writing a book spilling all the tea about her. And a netizen added, I need Marjorie Harvey to write a book. Sis married 2 drug kingpin brothers, then got Steve Harvey and changed all her kids' names to his lol. Well, that's truth. In a new interview, the ex-husband of Steve Harvey's wife claims his tell-all book is finished and he plans to publish it. Former Memphis substance kingpin Jim Townsend was once married to Steve's beloved Marjorie. He said, I'm pouring my heart out. No one knows what happened but me and Marjorie. According to reports, both Jim and Marjorie were investigated by the FBI and D for their involvement in a cocaine ring. He was eventually indicted for attempting to purchase 40 kilos of coke and sentenced to life in prison. 5 years into his sentence, Marjorie Harvey filed for divorce. He wrote his memoir during his stint. Jim said that he has a right to tell his story the way he wants to, whether Marjorie likes it or not. Even though he was allegedly hesitant at first, he now has apparently decided that he has no allegiance to Marjorie. I wrote 2/3 of the book in prison. He continued, I have no allegiance to Marjorie. She showed her hand. I'm going to tell my story. It don't matter if she knows about it. Of course, it's important to note that it appears Jim has exclusively spoken to Radar about said memoir. In other words, it's not set in stone that the book will actually come to fruition. What's more, there are no concrete details yet noted in the report about a release date. Well, fans are waiting to get hold of the book so they can know Jim's side of the story, because why not? Till then, stay connected with this channel so you don't miss out on more entertainment.